Tell us about some of your thoughts of this season so far, and perhaps some of your thoughts looking ahead to next season.
Sure. MASL this season so far, obviously very competitive league. One of the values I have as a commissioner is to make sure that all games are in doubt. So when your team shows up every night, your fans think you have a chance to win, and clearly we've had that in most cases. Very intense games, a ton of one-goal games, a ton of games decided in the last minute, which is clearly what we want from a competitive atmosphere to entertain our fans.
And as we look forward to next season, talking about expansion, are there any particular markets that may have come to the forefront?
Yeah, and we'll be making an announcement in the next 30 days regarding expansion. I'll just call it North. So we're looking to break into other markets and create new geographies and potential divisions. We also look to the Northeast and shore up that eastern seaboard. There's clearly a lot of metropolitan population we want to introduce arena soccer to. And we've been in conversations with some very credible ownership groups that are involved in sports entertainment. We also have a lot more interest in Mexico. Obviously, Sonora drawing what they're drawing. And we also have a potential team coming back from years previous that was also very successful.
I know prior to the season there was some talk about probably developing a second division. Has there been any progress or any further development as far as that goes?
There is. It's well underway right now, and we even have some teams that, as you know, were participants in MASL previously that are likely candidates for MASL too, and we're really shore up our geographies and creating a real pyramid of arena soccer, both for our players, officials, and coaches. And that was an emphasis when I was brought on as a commissioner to make that happen, and the process is well underway, and we hope to make announcements by April.
I know also one of the things you mentioned to me, perhaps on your agenda, is possibly creating an MASL showcase week or weekend. Any particular thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, kind of a catalyst for this was our exhibition games this summer, USA-Mexico, USA-Brazil, Brazil versus Mexico that we had in different markets with, mixed success, but clearly in the Southwest we had tremendous success with USA and Mexico. And we've used that and really thought about it and said, how can we make this an arena soccer week? And potentially we could either locate it all in one central area, like Vegas, San Diego, LA, or we could move it around to different markets, really create a showcase in the middle of the summer where people are looking for some more soccer, and introducing it on an international level, which has a broader base of appeal than simply our teams in our local markets.
I know one of the challenges, well, not only for this league, but I guess in the recent history of professional indoor soccer is trying to, raise the national profile of the league, certainly with respect to the media. Any thoughts as far as what it might take to, make the MASL perhaps a little more relevant in the national sports landscape?
Sure. So if we look at other models of sports leagues and how they've done it, they've clearly created a 501c6 to handle the league operations, making sure that the minimum standards are hit, outcomes of games are in doubt, equal application enforcement of the rules. As we look to how leagues have grown, the media and marketing side, they've created for-profit corporations, media corporations, and I think the MASL is primed to do that. It's one of my biggest projects that I have on the table here, and in the next 90 days, I'm putting forth proposals to the ownership groups to really find out how we can put some substance around that, define what areas we need help with, and we'll go from there.
Well, certainly the online and social media presence has increased, so that's a good start. Any other thoughts as we go forward with the MASL?
Sure, and clearly you touched on it earlier, that the one thing we need to pivot harder on is creating awareness of arena soccer, and that's going to come through digital media. As you know, we went from Go Live to YouTube. It's been a successful transition. I think it's created more viewerships, better quality viewing. We look to grow that in different areas, whether it be through other streams, through better quality broadcasts. And I think the media corporation, through branding and uniform social media presence, is going to allow us to do it.
Josh Schaub, the commissioner of the Major Arena Soccer League. Josh, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Milwaukee Panther Arena in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the Major Arena Soccer League. Tonight, the Wave taking on the defending champion, Baltimore Blast. And a pleasant good evening, everyone, wherever you may be tuning us in. Tom Wynn, along with the Wave Hall of Famer, Art Kramer, as we'll bring you all the play-by-play action from tonight's game as they're preparing to introduce the Wave lineup tonight before the partisan crowd here at the UWMP Arena. Art, always a big matchup every time the Wave takes on the Blast. No exception this year. Milwaukee at 7-5. They're on a 3-game winning streak, trying to stay in the playoff hunt in the Central Division. Meanwhile, Baltimore tops the East with a mark of 8-4. The Blast coming off a tough loss, though, last night in Cedar Rapids, so quick turnaround for them.
Yeah, and I spoke to Blast head coach Danny Kelly minutes ago, and Danny told me that the recipe to win here in Milwaukee never changes. You got to come in, get 5 behind the ball. Their success is predicated on their team defense. keep long stretches of possession. They want to keep the ball, make the Wave chase, and then finish their chances, especially on the restart opportunities. One of the premier teams in the league on restarts, both for and against. So they're looking to be opportunistic tonight, and that's the recipe for Danny Kelly and the Blast.
They have only yielded a league low total of 38 goals, including the 5 last night in Cedar Rapids. So barely over 3 per game, anchored on defense by their all-league goalkeeper, William Van Zela, the top goalkeeper in the league as of now, and also their captain and ace defender in the back, Pat Healy, Tony Donatelli, their leading scorer up front. He and Vinny Datas, a tough pair to handle. All right, flipping it over to the Wave, Art. You've got a team that has been pretty hot offensively as of late, again coming off the 10-8 win at Chicago last Saturday. And once again, the IBM scoring processor continues to rack up big numbers. That's Ian Bennett, who had a goal and 3 assists. Ian, now with a total of 39 points in the league, the top of the Wave. He's 3rd in the league. And his running mate, Max Ferdinand, who had 4 goals and assists in that contest. And obviously those are 2 guys Baltimore is going to try and focus on here.
Yeah, Ian and Max, 2 of the hottest players in the league, and they've been so all year long. For the Wave, I went into the Wave locker room. Giuliano Oliviero, the head coach, had up on the board. It's a rivalry game, and anytime you have a rivalry game, you're going to get the other team's best shot. So 60 minutes of intensity, energy, and intelligence. That's what he had on the board. And for the Wave to get it done tonight, we talked about they're 5-5 in their first 10. They're 2-0 in the second 10, the final 10. They need to go at least 8-2, probably to make the playoffs. Off to a great start at 2-0. They're going to need to keep it rolling here tonight against the Blast.
Rookie goalkeeper Josh Lemos anchors the Wave defense, and he and the rest of his teammates will work to try to see if they can get this one against Baltimore. It's all coming up next right here from Milwaukee. Wave Soccer. Good. 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 Yeah, after the anthem, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as USO Wisconsin presents the colors for tonight's game.
And so we're just about set to go here from the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tom went along with the Hall of Famer Art Kramer as we get ready for the Wave and the Blast. Crowd still filling in here, Art. No question, this should be a very intense matchup tonight. As we prefaced in the open, huge game for the Wave. And again, in Baltimore's case, a big game for them as well. Still leading the East Division, but not cruising along as much as against the rest of the division. The rest of the division has been very competitive this year.
Yeah, Danny Kelly said that there's no gimmies anymore. In the past, when they'd play the likes of Harrisburg, some of the weaker teams, those were just blowouts. But right now, he said the rivalry with Harrisburg is back on. Big, strong team, physical team, and he's got a lot of young players. He does, and I said before that it's all the same because Danny Kelly's in charge. Only the names have changed, and a lot of rookies this year with the Blast. And once again, Danny Kelly and David Bascombe, the assistant coach, have done a marvelous job to have this team at 8-4.
Danny, who was a great player in his own right during a long indoor career, and then taking over as coach 11 years ago. He has had tremendous success as coach of the Blast. And he and assistant David Bascombe, as you said, they've implemented a pretty good system here and done a good job of turning over the roster as the years have gone by, but still getting obviously some very high quality play.
What's amazing about Danny Kelly and David Bascombe, who are on the bench for the Baltimore Blast, is these guys look like they can still play. I mean, unbelievable how fit both of these guys are. I went in there, said hi to them, obviously old friends, and I'm like, how come I keep getting older and you guys just stay the same? So it's unbelievable, these guys.
Well, we've had a coach also on the Wave bench who probably could get out there and knock it around himself, and Giuliano Oliviero. Giuliano now in his third year as coach of the Wave. And Artie's put together a 33-19 record, has done a pretty good job succeeding the legendary Keith Tozer, who coached this team for 22 years. Again, young team to start, relatively inexperienced to start the year, but they've gained some valuable experience. We've had some good contributions from the expected contributions, I guess, of Ian and Max, who certainly have been superlative this year. And Josh Lemos, the goalkeeper, I would think would have to head the list of first-year players who have really made a tremendous contribution to this team.
Yeah, well, we talked about the Baltimore Blast coaching staff, but Giuliano has done a fantastic job, along with Marcelo Fontana and Nick Forber. We talked about the fitness of the Blast coaches. These three guys on the Wave bench, they can get out there and play as well. But yeah, exciting team, good team speed for the Wave, and a fun team, really fun team to watch.
Our officials tonight, the longtime veteran, one of the best in the league, Rich Grady, joined by veteran official Adam Garner. First time, Art, I think we've seen Adam in Milwaukee. He's been a veteran official down in the Dallas area, so he's probably worked a few sidekick games. But he is joining Rich Grady here tonight, so we've got two pretty good officials for what should be a very intense matchup. Baltimore with it. They go right to left as we look to the action here in the first period. And right away, Ian Bennett comes away with it for the Wave. Bennett running at the defender. Takes a shot. That's a little bit high. Rebound, Max Ferdinand, the former member of the Blast who played his first 4 seasons in this league with Baltimore before coming to Milwaukee next year. His shot is blocked, and the Wave will reload back in their defensive half.
Right out of the gate, the IBM line, as you spoke about, with Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand flying down the field at the Blast, and they make a quick line change here about 45 seconds in.
Wave in the black uniforms and the electric yellow or green names and numbers on the back with the same color socks. Back to the 80s night here tonight. Boy, public address center Van McNeil. What an outfit he's got on for tonight's game.
There's some electric hair that Van has going, but she said back to the 80s night. Good to have those electric colors.
Fit in well.
And the Wave, trying to stay alive here, staying alive in the Central Division. I think that's all I got, though, for back to the 80s night.
Well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good start there, I would say. Blast playing its second game in 2 days. The Wave will be playing 2-2. They will be in St. Louis tomorrow. So, huge weekend for both teams. And again, you look at St. Louis, whistle blows there. Was that a 3-line violation?
Yes, it was. A little bit slow on the call that time.
You cannot pass the ball in the air over 3 lines. in indoor soccer. And so you see Josh Lemos talking with official Rich Grady there. But the Wave will come back with a free kick. Anyway, you don't want to look ahead to St. Louis. Ambush suffering another tough loss against Harrisburg in St. Louis last night. They're 1-12, but I guarantee you they will be ready for tomorrow's game. So that's going to be a quick turnaround for the Wave. And it would be great if Milwaukee could get a result here tonight. Daniel Matos with the free kick, just missing. Well struck by Matos, just a bit offline. Robert Renault with the rebound in the corner. The blast will clear.
And the Wave taking the approach that I've been calling for some time. Shoot directly, and that shot by Matos just off target.
Baltimore quickly changing when it was a kick-in for the Wave, but they were able to hustle off the field and do it successfully. Lemos to Hans Dennison. Dennison in his second year with Milwaukee, the Dutch native. Had a good debut season for Milwaukee last year. Scored a couple of key goals in the postseason for the Wave. Ricardo to Dennison. Trying to knock it forward for Max Ferdinand. Broken up. Dennison will track it down as Vinny Datas is right on him, and Datas commits the foul.
So good to see these two teams matched up against each other again, Tom.
My mistake, Art. I believe that was Elton de Oliveira, number 26. Both he and Datas, very physically well-built guys, and de Oliveira, more of a defender midfielder type. Datas, a forward, a strong forward. You talk about power forwards, Art. He is the definition of that. Lemos, who comes into tonight's game with a 6-2 mark of 5.96 goals against average. And Josh in the top 6 goalkeepers in the league. He's going up against the league's best as far as goals against average, and William Van Zela. Do not look for a run-and-gun game tonight, at least not to start. That certainly is not Baltimore's tempo. Wave certainly will try to push the pace a bit if they can, as that ball deflected away off the attempt by Ian Bennett. But certainly, Art, that's not Baltimore's style.
No, you're absolutely right. I talked to Danny Kelly. Danny said just that point, that we don't want to get into a running game. We want to get 5 behind the ball and be in every game with an opportunity to win every game.
Andre Hain has it knocked off his foot.
And I was saying before, Tom, just so good to see these two teams matched up again. We were thinking last year Baltimore was leaving the league, and we weren't going to see these teams face each other for a long time. In fact, last year they didn't play each other.
Yeah, which broke a pretty long string of since going back to 92-93, when the team was then known as the Baltimore Spirit. Only 2 seasons since that time have the Wave and Blast not played, and that's also including the ill-fated 2008-09 Extreme Soccer League season.
Well, when these two teams are in the same league, they have to play. I mean, they have to. The fans in Baltimore and the fans in Milwaukee will tell you that these two teams need to play each other.
Foul against the Blast. Drew Ruggles will tee it up for the free kick. And again, well struck, but that time Van Zela, good position, able to gather it in.
And we've watched this team all year, Tom, and the Wave taking a very direct approach here on the first 2 restarts, which I like that approach. I think you shoot the first couple, then it's going to open up the opportunity to pass the ball, because that wall is going to stay a little bit tighter, a little longer.
Sean Tochford called for the foul that time as the Blast will move it in. Here's Donatelli. He had 2 of the 3 goals last night in Cedar Rapids for the Blast. Shot off the mark, but a rebound follow, and right there, and the Blast grabs a 1-0 lead.
That play started from goalkeeper William Van Zela. Great ball out of the back to Donatelli. He split 2 defenders. Donatelli with the initial shot. Lemos with a good left-handed save. But right there, the Blast pounce on the rebound and finish it off. And that was de Oliveira.
Elton de Oliveira puts it away for the Blast. The assist going to Tony Donatelli. Donatelli, their leading scorer, 28 points coming in. And the Blast really on their first shot on goal tonight, able to convert. And this is not an easy team to play from behind against. But still early, we got plenty of time.
And once again, it's make the analogies or comparisons to basketball all the time. And anytime that shot goes up, you got to get position for the rebound. The Wave standing around ball watching a little bit. on that initial shot.
Second goal of the year for De Oliveira. Those are his only 2 points of the season. Again, he's primarily a defender, so not expected to be a big scorer. Donatelli with his 14th assist and 29 points. Now back comes the wave. Dennison on the setup from Robert Renault. He scores, and we're tied at 1.
Good individual effort that time by Robert Renault to create that easy goal for Hans Dennison, but it was Renault who did the dirty work that time, off the dribble, beating 2 Blast defenders and finding Dennison at the far post. Great answer by the Wave here after the Blast scores first. But how about Renault right there? Beautiful pass with the outside of the foot. You saw number 24 that time, Turgeon, get caught ball watching as well.
Third goal and point on the year for Hans Dennison, and Robert Renault, the rookie forward out of Quebec, able to pick up the assist. Robert, the Wave's 3rd leading scorer in the year. Now 8 assists to go along with 8 goals for 16 points.
Said Turgeon, my eyes are bad, Tom. Tirgu, actually.
Sofiane Tirgu. Heck of a name for a player. Poked away there by Ricardo, but the Blast reloads. Pass square. Couldn't find the mark, and so the Blast will reload at midfield. Adriano Dos Santos, number 12.
So who knows, Tom? Maybe this will be a high-scoring affair. Both teams scoring in the first 5 minutes. That's unusual for a Wave Blast game.
Yeah, the way we set it up, you know, it's almost like we jinxed it too.
That's okay. I'll take the high-scoring games.
Giveaway there by Ricardo. Donatelli shot saved by Lemos. And now as they battle for the rebound, and initially they're going to get Lucas Roque going to get the call as he persuaded Rich Grady that he was indeed knocked down on the play.
Well, I think Grady was going to call an initial foul on Lemos, and he held the whistle and then decided to call the second encounter.
Tenzin Rampa, the guilty party. Again, in the MASL, you're allowed 3 personals in each half. If you get 4, your team gives up a 2-minute power play. Free kick for the Blast. Great chance here. Let's see what they do with it. In it comes across. And a shot by De Oliveira. Nice sliding block there by Chad Vandegrift.
The pass that time was too slow, and the Wave defender, Vandegrift, was able to get out and block it.
In it comes. Data send us back out. As Peruzzi will let it go through. De Oliveira lays it back for Pat Healy. Boy, I'll tell you, getting Healy back in the lineup, a huge addition for the Blast. Multiple Defender of the Year a couple of times. He's the son of longtime Blast general manager Kevin Healy. Now Andrew Hoxie plays it over across on the far side. Shot was blocked. Hoxie gets it back. He's big number 4 in your picture. They definitely have some size up front on this team.
Yeah, Hoxie that time should have shot. He had it right on his right foot. Good angle to goal. He elected to pass. Wasn't the best decision on Hoxie's part.
Hoxie, a longtime veteran in this league, came to the Blast last year. Came up absolutely huge in the championship game down in Sonora. Foul called against the Wave as Blast will reload. Now Bennett pressuring Van Zela as he gets the pass back, moving it nicely to Dos Santos again. Ian and Ricardo trying to keep the pressure up. Van Zela launches downfield, and Hoxie lost a touch there on his bench. And we have reached the media timeout here in the first period. So 7:17 left to go in the first quarter. Tied at 1, and some pretty good action here to start tonight's action. Wave, as we mentioned, will be in St. Louis tomorrow. We will give you the rundown of the MASL scoreboard and standings as we continue here throughout the night. I do see, though, that Art Kramer's beloved St. Louis Blues suffered a tough loss in Winnipeg today. But Art is shaking it off.
Hey, I'm looking for a Wave victory tonight. The Blues are going to have to wait for theirs.
Speaking of games, any preliminary thoughts on that big NFC championship game tomorrow in Atlanta?
Well, it's going to be a shootout. We know that. I mean, both teams are put up points, but got to love the way the Pack is playing right now, led by their legendary quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Last two times these teams met, it was a one-point game with Matty Ryan getting the final say, but got to love the way the Pack's playing.
I think it should be a pretty exciting game. I guess we'll see if the Packers can hang in there physically. They certainly have taken their pounding. Of course, everybody in the league that makes it this point has had their share of injuries.
Remember the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010. It was piecemeal there, and the Packers got it done that season.
Other games tonight around the league. Cedar Rapids hosting Syracuse tonight. Syracuse, heartbreaking 6-5 loss last night in Kansas City. Chicago will be hosting Harrisburg, and San Diego hosting Soles de Sonora. That should be a big one tonight at the Valley View Casino Center in San Diego. Haynes' turning shot is blocked, picked up by Van Zela, outlet far side. As he gets it to Turgu, and they will cycle it back to midfield. Elton De Oliveira got the scoring started for Baltimore at 4:15. Hans Dennison answered at 5:12 for the Wave off a nice assist from Robert Renault. We'll run down the standings here in the league. Next chance we get. Dos Santos looking long on the far side, headed away now. Andre Hain picks it up for the Wave. Hain, the second-year man out of Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri. Again, Andre has been plagued by an ankle injury so far this year. Did have a big goal against his former team, the St. Louis Ambush, in the Wave's last home game a couple of weeks ago. Now Roque away from the rookie Daniel Chamale. Gets it back on the far side. There's the veteran defender, Nelson Santana. He's been with a handful of teams throughout his career in this league, wearing the bright orange shoes tonight for the Blast. Off the ball, Chamale looked like Lucas Roque were getting tangled up a bit. Now Drew Ruggles has switched on to Roque.
Right now you're seeing what Danny Kelly talked about as being one of the keys for success here in Milwaukee. Keep long periods of possession. Right now the Blast having controlled the ball probably about 90 seconds.
Sean Tosh was trying to apply the pressure there for the Wave. Ruggles tried to clear, ended up hitting his own teammate, Chamale, but Dennison comes out with it. However, Blast gets it back. Santana will play it back to midfield as Donatelli controls. And now Santana and Chamale, little connection. We're going to have to keep an eye on some of those off-the-ball confrontations.
Well, Nelson Santana, a guy who likes to mix it up. The fact that both of these guys play in the back, they probably won't see each other a whole lot.
And a miss hit that time by De Oliveira. Lemos look long. He'll play it out to his left for Drew Ruggles. Here's Ruggles, the second-year man out of Georgia Southern. Had a big goal against the Mustangs last Saturday. Chamale, the Canadian rookie from the Toronto area. So those are your two defenders now, with Daniel Matos at midfield as he gets the pass to the near wing.
Blast with 5 defenders behind the ball, playing press and tuck. The initial defender will come and press. The other 2 guys, support defenders, tuck back in to deny space.
Got to be patient working against this Baltimore team. That's for sure. And if you do get some opportunities to quickly counterattack, you better take advantage of them. You don't get too many of them. Now Ruggles, top of the area, turning shot, save Venezuela. Rebound, Ferdinand, and he launches it into the stands.
Van Zela's best save of the day right there on Ruggles, and then William shouting at his defenders that they need to step up a little quicker and block those shots.
Eventually, we will get the ball back in play. Great save there by Van Zela. Boy, Ruggles hit that one right on the money, and a nice save by Van Zela. Venezuela doesn't have to face a lot of shots. He's got a great defense in front of him, but he still is usually good for a couple of pretty good saves every game. Matos looking down. Renault double team in the corner, trying to get through. Nice move there. What a finish, Robert Renault.
Not just a great finish, Tom, but how about the way he dealt with that double team along the boards? Received it in a little play off the near boards that split the two Blast defenders, and then finished nicely with the outside of his right foot. And the outside of that right foot for Robert Renault has been magic so far, as he's making an early statement for Player of the Game honors. See if we can catch that right here. Watch Renault. A little ball off the boards to split Healy and Tirgu. What a nice piece of work. And then Vanzela coming out just a little late to get there.
Trying to figure out who had the assist. I can't remember who fed it up to, I think with Matos. Matos, number 14. Ooh, back to come, and Bennett just missing on the far post.
That's the second time Ian has come down that right side. Both times he's missed the target.
Well, hopefully Ian will keep getting some chances here. The league's second leading goal scorer with 32. Also 7 assists to give him 39 points. He is third in the league.
Ian,
Frank
could you
Taito
cut your mic to us?
Of Soles de Solera leads the league in scoring.
Yeah, we're getting your mic the
with
whole
a total
time.
of 47.
Thanks, bud.
Lemos getting some pressure, looking for Ferdinand, and we're going to foul against the Blast. Hoxie with a little bit too much pressure against the goalkeeper Lemos. Draws his second foul of the half. Robert Renault with a goal and assist. He now has 9 goals, 8 assists on the year. Daniel Matos picked up the assist on the latest goal. And for Matos, the third-year indoor veteran out of University of West Florida. Now with 7 assists to go along with 6 goals for 13 points. 2-1 Wave. And a good tackle there by Jamie Thomas to take it away for the Blast.
You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Tom, about how difficult it is to play from behind against the Blast. So great answer by the Wave to get those two and take an early lead here. Blast very good at dictating the tempo of the game when they have the lead.
Ferdinand coming through, collapsed on by 3 defenders eventually. Jeremy Rayleigh took it away. And up to midfield. Deflecting out of bounds, Wave will take it. Just over a minute to go, first period. And the Wave working it left to right.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Hain tried to play it square for Ricardo, couldn't make the connection. Drew Ruggles is there to retain the possession. Back out to Tenzin Rampa. Tenzin, who also had a big goal in that Chicago game. Looks like he's moving okay tonight. He had suffered an ankle injury during our last home game a couple of weeks ago. Veteran defender, Madison native out of UW Milwaukee, who has now spent 9 seasons with the Wave, including this one. Hain, top of the area, good hustle by Andre. As the clock ticks down the first period, sends one in around the boards. But Vanzela able to scoop it up with Dennison right on the doorstep. Ruggles, good stepping and tackle there, but a little bit too much contact. And he's called for the foul as he dumps.
Tough call that time for Drew Ruggles. Looked like he got all ball, but
That was Jonatas Melo, another one of the Blast Brazilians they brought in the last couple of years. Shot there, deflected above, and Baltimore is going to get a corner kick now with 7.1 seconds left to go. Now let's see if Danny Kelly thinks about using a timeout
I don't think
here.
he'll do it this early. Normally Danny likes to save his restarts.
Good chance here for the Blast at the end of the first period. In it comes, launched in wide right by Pat Healy. Rebound, follow in front, and Lemos coming up with a big save. Blast contending that one of the Wave defenders had a handball, but Lemos coming up with a huge save in traffic there.
Looked like it was Matos in behind Lemos. And as you said, the Blast players all appealing for a handball after that initial save by Lemos.
So that'll do it for the first period. At the end of our first 15, it's Milwaukee 2, Baltimore 1. Back with the second period after this. This is Wave Soccer.
Wave fans, make some noise!
Still gonna take a miracle. Looking like plays it in. Heading down. Marcial across. Shot a goal!
Oh my,
Yes!
this is going to be something else. This is going to be something else, Tom. I don't know if they can go to instant replay, but I don't know if that ball was in before that horn sounded. It was extremely close.
And the shot save Warburg, and he punches away.
Been off his line way early, but Blue Wad scores anyway.
Badger Max, for those who thirst for a championship. Made with all natural flavors and premium ingredients. Rehydrate, recharge, and boost your performance. Badger Max, drink it to the max. Find Badger Max at these fine retailers.
All right, we're just about ready for the start of the second period here from Milwaukee as you see a few of the highlights from the first period. 2-1, the Wave leads it, and certainly a good first period for the Milwaukee Wave. After falling behind 1-0, they come back with a couple of goals, but this game, I just have a feeling, Art, this is going to be a one-goal game throughout tonight.
Yeah, well, no doubt. When these two teams play, it normally is. Normally goes down to the wire. You saw that replay right there. Last play of the first quarter where the Blast players were appealing for a handball. Close play, bang, bang play. Looked like the ball caught a little bit of Matos' arm there, but the Wave gets the benefit of the no call to end the quarter.
And believe me, in real time, that is happening a lot faster than what you see on replay. As we talked about, these officials just do a tremendous job officiating, which is really, really a difficult game to call. Speaking of handballs, that was a little more obvious, as they're going to get Donatelli for that one. Again, looking at the MASL standings coming into tonight's game. Let's see if we can call them up for you here again. East Division.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can you cut your mic, man?
The Baltimore Blast on top with an 8-4 mark. Blast 4-3 away from the friendly confines of the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore coming in tonight's game. So actually, they're only going to have 2 road games left after tonight's game. 5 at home, 2 on the road, which bodes well for them. Florida in second place. The Expansion Tropics from Lakeland, Florida have won 3 straight. They are 6-7 in second place, 2.5 behind the Blast. Harrisburg at 5-6. They're also 2.5 behind, tied with the Tropics, but 2 games in hand over Florida in the battle for second place, which is important because the top 2 teams in each division qualify for the playoffs. Syracuse in 4th place in the East, but only 3 games out at 4-6. In the Central Division, also in the Eastern Conference, Cedar Rapids and Kansas City tied at 9-4. Chicago in second place, a game and a half out with the Wave. Chicago at 6-4, the Wave 7-5 as that ball deflects off of Andre Hain just over the glass. Corner kick for the Blast. St. Louis at 1-12, but again, they will be ready for the Wave tomorrow, I'm sure. In it comes! And the attempt by Datas just a bit high. And now as Tosh comes downfield, that was Dos Santos, I believe, who attempted the conversion off the corner kick, just missing. Then if you look in the Western Conference, Southwest Division, Sonora at 10-1. They were the runners-up to the Blast in last year's championship. Baja second at 6-6. Dallas in third at 5-8. El Paso 0-12. The Expansion Coyotes in danger of a perfect season the wrong way. And then in the Pacific Division, Tacoma on top at 9-3. Stars, by the way, winning again at home last night over Ontario. They are 7-0 at the Showware Center in Kent, Washington. San Diego in second place, a game back 8-4. Ontario in third place, 4-7. And the Turlock Express, who's played the most games in the league at this point, they are 5-9, last place, 5 games out in the Pacific Division. There is a rundown of your MASL standings. Meanwhile, 2-1 is our score here. The Wave leading the Blast early in the second period. Great job by Renault to retain the possession. Robert has been the offensive spark plug for the Wave with a goal and assist so far. Here's Ricardo off the inboard. Skips through in front as Healy got a foot on it to clear to midfield. Poked away by Dennison, almost got the foot up too high as he poked it away from Jamie Thomas that time.
Been impressed with the Wave's possession so far here in this game. Good quick ball movement.
Looking long was Matos trying to go over the top for Ferdinand, but headed away. Now, Jamali poked it away momentarily, and as Blast tries to get it back, foul is going to be called on Jeremy Rayleigh. Quick restart for the Wave. Ferdinand hammers one off the inboard. Ian Bennett trying to get the rebound. Healy right there to block any attempt. And now Thomas set to midfield, drops it back, but the Wave will get it back.
Wave tried to catch the Blast on a quick restart that time. The Blast were arguing the call and almost got caught.
We mentioned Wave in St. Louis tomorrow for a 3 o'clock game, and you can tune into the YouTube channel and catch that one live online. 3 o'clock kickoff. Wave returns here to the UWMP Arena on Sunday, January 29th for a 2:05 matchup against the Cedar Rapids Rampage. So that will be another big home game for the Wave. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. That's 414-224-9283. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com.
The Wave with 2 home games against Cedar Rapids. If you recall, the Wave dropped both games They've played this season 2 Cedar Rapids in Cedar Rapids.
Both tough losses to
Yes.
the Rampage, who continue to prove they are for real. Led by a core of former Wave veterans, their player head coach, Everton Morera. And several other familiar names on that team. Jonathan Greenfield, Jonathan Santos, Tony Walls, Pablo. Also got some other stars in their own right. Gordy Gerson, certainly. And Patrick Kelly, the former Marquette star. So they are a well-stocked team. And they'll be here on the 29th, 2 o'clock, to take on the Wave. Again, call 414-224-WAVE to get your tickets or order online at MilwaukeeWave.com. 10 minutes even left to go first half. Wave leads it 2-1 as we are going to have a foul called on Stuart Grable.
Grable saying, wait a second, Dos Santos just grabbed me around the head. But Rich Grady called the initial foul obstruction on Grable.
Grable, the native of Neenah, Wisconsin, and UWGB. Been a solid player for the Wave this year in his second season. He and Tony Patterson, another defender midfielder, both Wisconsin natives. Tony out of Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Tony not dressed for tonight's game, but we do have another Wisconsin native, number 25, Andrew Wiedebach. Andrew out of Mequon, Wisconsin, played his high school ball at Homestead before having a nice career at UW Milwaukee. Now in his third year with the Wave, and he has been a timely contributor for the Wave. So we still got a pretty good Wisconsin base on this team, including the veteran defender Tenzin Rampa. Wave tries to clear. Healy's got it. Healy's shot blocked by Chad Vandergriff. Chad with his second block so far tonight. Great job there, and now foul going to be called as Turgu puts down Robert Renault in the corner.
And Baltimore starting to up their defensive pressure a little bit here in the second quarter. We saw in the first quarter they primarily sat back in their own half of the field, but down 2-1, Danny Kelly, here they go again, going after Lemos.
Josh with a good ball up ahead to Sean Toach. Sean, the second-year man out of Oswego, Illinois, Northern Illinois University. Renault challenged by Santana on the near wing. Wave reloads as Ruggles will get it back. Chad Vandergriff goes out for a change as Daniel Chamale comes on. Lemos back for Chamale. Now Josh has got to push forward himself. And just has to dump it. Discretion, the better part of valor there. Just not want to take any chances and played in the zone. Ruggles headed it right back in, but Blast able to eke it out of the zone. And right in front of the Baltimore bench, we have a foul called against the Blast. Let's take a look at this. As
All right
Ricardo
there, yep.
got pushed down. Blast, of course, was claiming it was a handball, but it was after the whistle had blown. Tell you, Ricardo, he only weighs about 130 pounds.
Good on the ball, very, very technical player. Hasn't scored a lot of points, but certainly a great facilitator in the midfield for the Wave, number 10.
Especially on the power play. He has been tremendous, but no question about it, Art. He's going to take his knocks at his slight size. Been fairly durable, though, so far. Speaking of power plays, Wave, by far the league's leading power play unit if they do get some opportunities, clicking at 70%. The official stats only say 57, but that is not accurate.
And I don't think you're going to see many penalties tonight. The Blast, an extremely disciplined team, Tom. They don't take a lot of silly penalties.
They're second least in the league. Only Syracuse, which has played 2 fewer games, has taken less penalties than Baltimore
and
has.
that
so far
stat
this year.
holds true year after year with Danny Kelly coach teams.
And that's one of the reasons why they have been so successful. Hain trying to muck his way to the corner, and eventually Vanzuela covered up, although looked like he was reaching out a bit there from the box, but nonetheless, they usually give the goalkeepers the benefit of the doubt on those kind of plays. Shamali checked from behind by Datas, but he spins away with it. This guy has got size, speed, and skill, Vinny Datas. Now cut off by Ian Bennett. Wave can't find the ball momentarily. Now Grable's got it. Tried to play it out to the near side. Popped out to Jonatas Mello, and his shot easily saved by Lemos. Now Josh puts it down, playing it long for Robert Renault. Robert turning, looking far post as eventually Matos gets there, heads it back in. Dennison has it in the middle, shot, and goal! What a goal for the Wave!
Tremendous combination that play that time, and once again, Robert Renault putting on a clinic with his touches here today, but a great feed that time by Hans Dennison. Let's watch this combination play again by the Wave. There's really nothing Van Zela could do in the Blast net, but that man that right there, Robert Renault, having the game of the year far. What a touch that time by Dennison, and Renault using his quickness to beat the Blast defender. And what a look at that touch that time by Dennison. And Renault right there in the middle of the box. Big goal for the Wave to go up 2.
And we have reached the point of our media timeout here in the second period. Just phenomenal work by the Wave. Great combination play. And there's Robert Renault, 2 goals and assist already. Now 10 goals, 9 assists on the year. Number 3 on the Wave scoring chart. But we've seen Robert come on game by game, Art. So we talked about it a bit earlier. At least to me, he reminds me a bit of a younger Greg Howes. But, you know, not quite. If he ever becomes, you know, anywhere near Greg Howes, he'd really be a phenomenal player. Greg is going to be a Wave Hall of Famer for sure.
Well, doesn't have as heavy a shot as Housey had. I mean, Housey had just a phenomenal shot with both feet, but certainly similar type build. I'd say Renault's probably a little quicker than Housey was, although Housey was pretty quick in his own right, obviously.
Deceptively. Housey was deceptively fast.
But this guy just is, you could just see that natural speed that he has, that pure speed. But to go along with his pure speed, he has a great touch, man, and we've seen it tonight. First goal set up with the outside of his right foot. The second goal with a cheeky little touch off the boards to himself to split 2 defenders. And then right there, just the beneficiary of a great ball by Hans Dennison, but use that little quick burst again to beat the Blast defender into the center of the box. Right now, Robert Renault, as I said, having the game of the year for him so far.
He is putting on a show for this nice crowd tonight. Includes the MASL Commissioner, Josh Schaub. Stick around for the halftime show, fans. We're going to have an interview with Josh Schaub, the new commissioner in the MASL this season. Josh have some interesting things to talk about, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the interview, so make sure to tune it in at halftime of tonight's broadcast.
Well, MASL fans always like to hear from the commissioner, so good opportunity for the fans of the MASL to hear from Josh.
Very personable commissioner of the league, Josh Schaub, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy that interview that we had with him. Baltimore with it after the media timeout. 3-1, Wave leads it. Wave has scored their 3 goals after Baltimore opened up the scoring. Elton De Oliveira had the goal at 4:15 in the first period. Since then, Milwaukee's done the rest of scoring. What a look there as Matos plays it for Ian Bennett. Ian working the corner against Turgu. Trying to maneuver to the top of the area, had it poked away, and the Blast will come away with it.
As you said, the Blast not an easy team to come from behind against, but also not a team that's built to play from behind.
Turgu to the corner is knocked down on the defensive play by Andre Hain.
And here comes the Wave. Oh.
Turgu got called for the foul.
Oh, and I'm not sure why Rich Grady didn't allow that play to continue, as Baltimore thought it was their ball, but Rich Grady clearly pointed in the direction of the Wave. He's going to rule that it wasn't a yard with where the foul occurred.
Milwaukee working it out of the back. Hain at midfield.
Baltimore once again claiming for the handball that time on Andre Hayne.
Hayne coming to the near boards as he's getting some pretty good pressure from Dos Santos. Played back midfield. Jamali will control for the Wave.
And thus far, a really good job of refereeing so far by Rich Grady and Adam Gardner.
Less than 5 to go, first half. Ruggles will play it out for Sean Tosh as he moves it back for Lemos. Jamali, Tosh, and again the Wave working it around. Pressure from the Baltimore defense. Now Ruggles trying to serve it long for Renault, but couldn't get it where he wanted to. Venzela, the goalkeeper, comes up with it. Milwaukee again mixing up the pressure tonight, trying to keep the Blast off balance. Hoxie went down, didn't get the call as Ruggles will play it ahead. So far the Wave defenders in the back are manning up against Hoxie. Donatelli have done a pretty good job.
Now you said it, both these guys, Hoxie and Donatelli, big, strong target players.
And Vinny Datas, you probably got to throw him in the group as well.
Sure.
That is a load to handle for any defense. Ruggles and Hoxie. Now Dennison comes through, plays it to Lemos. Josh will find Sean Tosh. And again, Wave, good job to move it up. Now they could have a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Ruggles, Tosh, moves it across, shot on goal!
What a goal by the Wave that time. Just their team speed paid off. It started with Sean Toch's own half of the field, getting out of a little tight space, made a nice ball, a parallel ball to him down the boards, and then Drew Ruggles with a good ball to Toch, and Toch finds, was it Renault again?
Who else but
at the far
Robert Renault?
post. But what a combination by the Wave right there.
If this were a hockey game, the hats would be flowing on the field, and a natural hat trick for Renault. His 11th goal of the season, and just sensational work there as Ruggles and Tosh set him up. Sean with the assist. Baltimore takes a timeout as we look at Van McNeil shaking it down in the booth.
Well, all right, well, the guys in the truck said they didn't have Van. Too bad. They didn't have Van on the shot, you folks at home. Van McNeil doing his best Saturday Night Fever impersonation. It's a good thing Hector Marinero isn't down there by the penalty box, or Van would have been pulled off those boards by the great Hector Marinero, former Cleveland Crunch great.
Yeah, it's
who
funny
at
because
one time hooked Van's feet and put him down onto the boards.
Of course, one of the former broadcasters for that team, our old buddy Al Pulowski, now voice of the Cleveland State Vikings, he was in town, of course. The Vikings were here last night to take on the Milwaukee Panthers basketball team. And, yeah, I'm sure Al could share the flashbacks on that for sure. But redoubtable. Could a lesser public address man may have been too permanently scarred psychologically to continue, but Van just shrugged it off and kept on going. All right, we're back to the action. Baltimore plays it in. The ball is easily taken by Lemos. Milwaukee will bring it up, leading 4-1. If you're just tuning in, it's the Robert Renault Show. A hat trick and an assist tonight. He's had a hand in each of the 4 goals the Wave has scored.
And 4 unanswered by the Wave after the Blast struck first. But Tom, you know, some of the players that got some inexperience really coming into their own right now for the Wave. Drew Ruggles, I'd put in that category. Guy who defensively, we know he got a big shot with his left foot, but defensively really took some time, but looks really good right now, playing with a lot of confidence.
Lemos all the way up to midfield, gets it to Ian Bennett. Well, of course, Ian and Max Ferdinand have been the offensive focus for the Wave this year, but tonight it's been Renault, and not just the goals Robert has scored, but the teamwork that has been used to set it up. So now Lemos coming way across midfield is, I'm not sure that's where Josh wants to be with the accompanying pressure, but Wave does well to keep the possession. Baltimore trying to change up their tactics a little bit here, trailing 4-1. Again, this team not even averaging 4 goals a game defensively as Ferdinand coming across the top, taken down, and he draws the blue card.
Well, let's hope Max is all right, but a good 1v1 that time by Max Ferdinand, the former Baltimore Blast star. Coming right down the outside, and that time 2 Blast defenders who looked like Pat Healy took down Ferdinand.
Yeah. Well, take your choice. It's going to be Pat Healy as he goes to the box.
And let's see if Giuliano Oliviero doesn't want to, sorry, Tom. I'm going to say Giuliano Oliviero might want to take a timeout here. He hasn't used his in the first half. Got a really nice restart opportunity here from inside the arc.
Here comes the Waves' vaunted power play. 4 of 5 against Chicago, including a penalty kick by Ferdinand. Again, officially listed at 57%, but in reality more like 75. So a great chance here to extend the lead. Ferdinand will lay it off. Bennett with a shot, save in the middle. Great save by Vanzela. Again, well executed. I like the quick restart. 1 pass and boom. Now the Wave on the power play. Still have plenty of time to manufacture a goal here. Bennett, Ferdinand, Ricardo, who has the ball, along with Tosh and Matos. And Giuliano Oliviero has put together a great power play unit with this group. Ricardo, Matos hammers a shot just wide. Blast, as far as penalty killing, done fairly well, although again, they haven't had to kill off too many this year.
Well,
I believe that they're 65%.
Going to say Ian Bennett getting a lot of attention right now down to Vanzela's right side.
Driven across by Ricardo. It'll come to Ferdinand as the Wave will reload. Still a minute to go on the power play. There is a 3-second difference between penalty time and period time. Ferdinand trying to get in. Max turns, shot deflected. Bennett with a header, but Vanzela got back. So the power play would carry over for 3 seconds into the second period if the Wave doesn't score.
Well, Vinny Dantas down on the lower right side of the last man down teams. Hasn't wandered far from Bennett the entire time. Credit to Danny Kelly. Big time student into the game, one of the best coaches in the league for some time, and there he is, Danny Kelly. He knows how successful Bennett's been on the power play, and the Wave's going to have success. It's not going to be with Ian Bennett, at least if Danny Kelly has his way.
Ian with 13 power play goals. To put that in perspective, that is more than twice as much as the next power play score in the league with 6. So to say he's been a dominant force in the power play is certainly a very true statement. Baltimore uses the timeout as Kelly wants to try to make sure the Blast doesn't give up a power play goal to the Wave here before the end of the half. Still has 38.4 seconds left to go. By the way, stick around for the halftime interview. Van McNeil will be talking with Wave head coach Giuliano Oliviero. At least for now, you would think Coach Oliviero very pleased with the way the first half is going.
Oh, he's got to be ecstatic with the way this first half has gone. Anytime you play against the Blast and you come out +3 for the first half, that's just a dream start.
All right, Vanzela getting ready for the distribution as we're back to the action. Headed on by Datas. Lemos will get it. Wave with about 30 seconds to come up and reload on the power play. Rampa comes off, Tosh comes on. Sean Tosh at the point. Ricardo working it. Donatelli out there along with Melo, Dos Santos, and the Oliveira, the penalty killers. Tosh turning, toe poke is cleared out with 5 seconds to go. Ferdinand with 3, Max taking it down to the buzzer as he has his feet chopped out from under him, and that will do it. And the blast essentially kills off the power play. It'll only carry over for 3 seconds into the second half, as you see Ferdinand and it might have been Lucas, now I was going to say Roque, Jonathan Mello exchanging words. But Max and the Wave with a good first half tonight. And we will go down and get some of the thoughts from Coach Giuliano Oliviero here in just a moment. See that last play where Mello took out the feet of Max Ferdinand as the horn was sounding in the first half. Excellent first half for the Wave as they go to the locker room with a 4-1 lead, outscoring the Blast 2-1 in the first, 2-0 in the second. And for those of you who haven't seen Van McNeil tonight, wait till you get a look at his Wigan outfit. Let's send it down to Van McNeil with Coach Oliviero.
Time for our Midwest Orthopedic Specialty Hospital Coach's Corner. Coach, you got to be feeling good here. 4-1 going in the half, but we're not done yet.
Yeah, we're only halfway there, and you know, it was a great half, and we got to come out and play with the same intensity on both sides of the ball in the second half.
All right, get back in the locker room. A quick check-in with head coach Giuliano Oliviero. More of this historic match, one of the two oldest teams in the league in indoor soccer history. The defending champs, the Baltimore Blast, your 6-time champion Milwaukee Wave. More coming up right after this from UW Milwaukee Panther Arena.
Hi guys, how are you, man? We're here with Major Arena Soccer League Commissioner Josh Schaub. Josh, thanks for stopping by to talk with us here. Tell us about some of your thoughts of this season so far, and perhaps some of your thoughts looking ahead to next season.
Sure. MASL this season so far, obviously very competitive league. One of the values I have as a commissioner is to make sure that all games are in doubt. So when your team shows up every night, your fans think you have a chance to win, and clearly we've had that in most cases. Very intense games, a ton of one-goal games, a ton of games decided in the last minute, which is clearly what we want from a competitive atmosphere to entertain our fans.
And as we look forward to next season, talking about expansion, are there any particular markets that may have come to the forefront?
Yeah, and we'll be making an announcement in the next 30 days regarding expansion. I'll just call it North. So we're looking to break into other markets and create new geographies and potential divisions. We also look to the Northeast and shore up that eastern seaboard. There's clearly a lot of metropolitan population we want to introduce arena soccer to. And we've been in conversations with some very credible ownership groups that are involved in sports entertainment. We also have a lot more interest in Mexico. Obviously, Sonora drawing what they're drawing. And we also have a potential team coming back from years previous that was also very successful.
I know prior to the season, there was some talk about probably developing a second division. Has there been any progress or any further development as far as that goes?
There is. It's well underway right now, and we even have some teams that, as you know, were participants at MASL previously that are likely candidates for MASL too, and we're really shore up our geographies and creating a real pyramid of arena soccer, both for our players, officials, and coaches. And that was an emphasis when I was brought on as a commissioner to make that happen, and the process is well underway, and we hope to make announcements by April.
I know also one of the things you mentioned to me, perhaps on your agenda, is possibly creating an MASL showcase week or weekend. Any particular thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, kind of a catalyst for this was our exhibition games this summer, USA-Mexico, USA-Brazil, Brazil versus Mexico that we had in different markets with, you know, mixed success, but clearly in the Southwest we had tremendous success with USA and Mexico. And we've used that and really thought about it and said, how can we make this an arena soccer week? And potentially we could either locate it all in one central area, like Vegas, San Diego, LA, or we could move it around to different markets, really create a showcase in the middle of the summer where people are looking for some more soccer and introducing it on an international level, which has a broader base of appeal than simply our teams in our local markets.
I know one of the challenges, well, not only for this league, but I guess in the recent history of professional indoor soccer is trying to raise the national profile of the league, certainly with respect to the media. Any thoughts as far as what it might take to make the MASL perhaps a little more relevant in the national sports landscape?
Sure. So if we look at other models of sports leagues and how they've done it, they've clearly created a 501c6 to handle the league operations, making sure that the minimum standards are hit, outcomes of games are in doubt, equal application and enforcement of the rules. As we look to how leagues have grown, the media and marketing side, they've created for-profit corporations, media corporations, and I think the MASL is primed to do that. It's one of my biggest projects that I have on the table here. And in the next 90 days, I'm putting forth proposals to the ownership groups to really find out how we can put some substance around that, define what areas we need help with, and we'll go from there.
Well, certainly the online and social media presence
Correct.
has increased, so that's a good start. Any other thoughts as we go forward with the MASL?
Sure, and clearly you touched on it earlier, that the one thing we need to pivot harder on is creating awareness of arena soccer, and that's going to come through digital media. As you know, we went from Go Live to YouTube. It's been a successful transition. I think it's created more viewerships, better quality viewing. We look to grow that in different areas, whether it be through other streams, through better quality broadcasts. And I think the media corporation, through branding and uniform social media presence, is going to allow us to do it.
Josh Schaub, the commissioner of the Major Arena Soccer League. Josh, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Wave fans, make some noise!
Still gonna take a miracle. Looking like plays it in. Headed down. Martial across. Shot a goal! Oh my, this is gonna be something else. This is gonna be something else, Tom. I don't know if they can go to instant replay, but I don't know if that ball was in before that horn sounded. It was extremely close.
And the shot, save Orberg, and he punches away.
Been off his line way early, but Blue Rod scores anyway.
Badger Max, for those who thirst for a championship. Made with all natural flavors and premium ingredients. Rehydrate, recharge, and boost your performance. Badger Max, drink it to the max. Find Badger Max at these fine retailers.
Why are you here? Do you have a mission? At Cardinal Stritch University, we'll help you find it. We believe it's our job to help people grow in their mind and heart while preparing them for a career. In fact, our undergraduates earn an average salary of $51,000, which is far more than most colleges and universities in Wisconsin. Find out what Stritch has to offer you. Now's the time to visit our campus for one of our upcoming events. We're here to help. After all, we make it our mission to help you find yours. Visit go.stritch.edu/events today.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
What others see is not a reflection of who I really am.
Pain from everyday wear and tear? That's not gonna stop me.
That younger me, she's still in there.
With uncompromising orthopedic expertise, we make sure the state of your body matches your state of mind.
Professional Construction Incorporated is a full-service construction company serving residential and commercial clients in the southeastern Wisconsin area. You can depend on Professional Construction Incorporated for new home construction, home remodeling including kitchen and bathrooms, and home additions like garages, basements, window and door installation, and more. From start to finish, Professional Construction Incorporated can assist you and customize any project. Call 262-363-0886 or visit wipci.com.
If Pat or somebody else was still coming up to
for him here tonight.
Stuart Grable lays it on two, and Almeida comes in with a shot. Save. Shot on the other side, and Adamson. First Duke, then SMU. And ahead to the left side, and just like that. First Duke, then SMU. And ahead to the left side, and just like that. First Duke, then SMU. And ahead to the left side, and just like that. Clark steps up, lost the touch, pushed off the play, and a bouncing shot. Clark steps up, lost the touch, pushed off the play, and a bouncing shot. Really come through experience a lot of times. Here's Dennison coming in, and it comes, and Tosh. They always look easier from up here, though, don't they? There's a shot and a goal by Matos. Beautiful feed from Max Ferdinand, and the Wave leads it 4-1. They always look easier from up here, though, don't they? There's a shot and a goal by Matos. Beautiful feed from Max Ferdinand, and the Wave leads it 4-1. They always look easier from up here, though, don't they? There's a shot and a goal by Matos. Beautiful feed from Max Ferdinand, and the Wave leads it 4-1. Broadcast now, takeaway, walking in, shot and a goal, Ian Bennett! Broadcast now, takeaway, walking in, shot and a goal, Ian Bennett! If Pat or somebody else was still coming up to at 36 seconds against the Syracuse Silver Knights as they Renault turns, shoots, just back that one down as he got cut off along the boards. Ball pops out, shot a goal!
In the fourth period, they were up by 2.
back in 99-2000.
Go take a whirlpool.
There's a great crack. To back Ricardo. Nelson fires.
Track all that.
Right to left. Quick shot taken by Louis. Turning. Rolls one wide left. Rebound foul. Contreras turning campaign. Matos lays it off. Centering for campaign. Matos lays it off. Centering for campaign. Matos lays it off. Centering for Ferdinand lays it off. Wave.com. Nelson got away from the defender. Here he comes. One-on-one against the keeper. Shot and a goal. Nice finish there by Eder Nelson. And Milwaukee. Wave.com. Nelson got away from the defender. Here he comes. One-on-one against the keeper. Shot and a goal. Nice finish there by Eder Nelson. And Milwaukee. Wave.com. Nelson got away from the defender. Here he comes. One-on-one against the keeper. Shot and a goal. Nice finish there by Eder Nelson. And Milwaukee. Vandegrift clears. Ambush sent it right back in. Be around 11 or 12. So, oh, what a ball there.
You know, they've had some really, really good ones.
Burko. And as we start the fourth period,
A veteran player.
Corey Dahl with a sliding out to keep the zone for St. Louis. And
and showing some resolve here in the fourth.
Burko's shot knocked down. Good fourth quarter team so far this year. Score time, so Penn State did come back with a touchdown. Oh, look at Ferdinand. Time, so Penn State did come back with a touchdown. Oh, look at Ferdinand. Time, so Penn State did come back with a touchdown. Oh, look at Ferdinand.
Different styles.
Contreras with a
time about the process.
And Corey. Renault will slide it. Bennett looking for number 5. There it is. Renault will slide it. Bennett looking for number 5. There it is.
Badger Max for those who thirst for a championship. Made with all natural flavors and premium ingredients. Rehydrate, recharge, and boost your performance. Badger Max. Drink it to the max. Find Badger Max at these fine retailers.
And here at the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome back again to Wave Soccer. Tom went along with Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer. And fans having a great time here tonight. Art, not only listening to the music and enjoying the rest of this 80s atmosphere, but a great game on the field tonight, especially if you're a Wave fan.
Well, rocking out to the boogeyman, as you can see on your screen, but also rocking out to Robert Renault, number 8 for the Milwaukee Wave, who put on an absolute clinic in the first half. I mean, we know what Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand have done so far this season for the Milwaukee Wave. They've carried the team, but tonight, Robert Renault is putting on a performance for the ages. 3 goals and an assist in the first half, and it's really, Tom, it's going to be the role players in large part to determine whether the Wave is going to advance to the playoffs this season.
Well, it's been a total team effort tonight. All right, let's take a look from either side, Art. First of all, if you're Coach Danny Kelly, what do you think he was telling his team at halftime?
Well, Danny Kelly is a mild-mannered guy. He's not a guy who's going to go in there, rant and rave, throw his clipboard against the wall. He's a student of the game, and his notebook of plays and everything else is well documented. His players know it. He's got the book. Coached a lot like Keith Tozer over the years. Quiet guy, right? But I think what Danny Kelly probably told his team is we're going to have to come out and we're going to have to high pressure the Wave. Take a risk here in the second half. Remember, they played last night, but as you said, they don't want to go home dropping 2 games, but look for the Blast to up their pressure here in the second half.
And then on the other side, Coach Giuliano Oliviero for the Wave.
Just don't change anything. Keep going the way you're going. You're playing with confidence. He said it's 60 minutes of intensity, energy, and intelligence, and so far we've got 30 good minutes from the Milwaukee Wave.
We take a look at some of the highlights in the first half. There was that huge goal that made it 3-1. Robert Renault scoring his second of the game. Just some fantastic work there to set him up. And then again, Sean Tosh getting the assist there after we saw the previous one with Hans Dennison setting up Renault.
Well, the vision of the Wave players tonight to make that extra pass to finish has been very good. We saw Renault do it earlier, Hans Dennison, and that time Sean Toch. 3 beautiful assists so far by the Wave.
So 4-1 as we get ready to start the third quarter. Hang with us, fans. We still got a ways to go in this one. Baltimore taking the kickoff. They go right to left as we look at the action. Wave in the black and electric yellow or green uniforms. Ian Bennett trying to get it back from Sean Tosh on a give and go, but couldn't make the connection. The Blast will bring it up. Nice sliding effort there. Stuart Grable keep it alive. Now Ferdinand to the near wing for Tosh. Sean, confronted by the defender there, will turn and lay it back. Wave has showed good patience here offensively tonight, and that's been part of their success. Some good possession, and of course, oftentimes your best defense is going to be a good offense.
Well, I've been impressed with their speed and quickness. I'll hold my thought here as the Wave has a good opportunity.
Matos gets it back. He is playing on the line right now with Ferdinand and Bennett. There's Ian right there. As they'll knock it back to Lemos. Shamale right now in the defensive backfield with Chad Vandergrift. Lemos has been nearly flawless with his distribution tonight. That's been another key. Josh the goal. Hayne turning shot just off the mark. Oh, unlucky for Andre as he's able to set it up for the turning left footer, but just couldn't find the target.
Real nice job by Andre Hayne of using his large frame that time to create a good goal scoring opportunity. Just missed wide to the near post. Comes to the Wave bench. Giuliano Olivier with a high five for Andre.
So, delay a game against the Blast for clearing it into the stands without it touching turf or boards from their defensive end. Milwaukee with the top of the arc restart. Shot off the frame by Dennison.
Well, we've seen it 3 times so far. The Wave shooting directly from the restarts. Only problem is they haven't put it on frame so far. I like the approach.
Absolutely. Nice ball there by Ruggles to keep it alive for Renault, and they'll work it out now. Ruggles to his defensive partner, Chamale. There's Ricardo in midfield. Yeah, the Waves ball handling tonight has been superb. Going up against the league's top defensive unit.
Physically, the Wave can match up with any team in the league. I think their speed and quickness is fantastic, but they become a better technical team as well.
See Ruggles hold off the charge of Elton de Oliveira that time.
You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Tom, the Wave without Eder Nelson tonight, and Coach Oliviero has moved Stuart Grable to the midfield, and so far Stuart has played well on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. Grable and I don't know if we've seen him on the field yet, but Andrew Wiedebach, another Wisconsin native, dressed for tonight's game. But Stewart has been a solid contributor all along. You see him there getting it back to Lemos. Stewart wearing the blue shoes. Native of Neenah, Wisconsin. Played his college ball at UWGB. Ferdinand coming in with the left footer, and Venezuela able to cover up at the short side. You can hear the 80s music blaring in the background on 80s night here at the UWMP Arena. Now Venezuela under pressure. Pass up the field was originally knocked down by Haney. High in the air and headed into the stands that time. Last touch by Jamie Thomas.
My three daughters, Mia, Layla, and Kayla, all in attendance tonight, and they love the 80s disco music. We put the disco light on, Tom, and we got her rocking a couple times a week at the Kramer household.
Whistle on the play.
So they know all these songs.
Mello got called for the foul, and still trying to figure out who's down for the Wave. I think it was Ricardo. Looks like he's okay. Again, the wispy midfielder showing he can take a hit and get up. Max Ferdinand, the league's leading playmaker on the ball. Max coming in with 19 assists into tonight's game. Now they circle it back. Tenzin Rampa will load one up and put it up in the stands. Again, this is one of 4 games going on tonight in the MASL. Other updates around the league. First period scores just getting underway. Cedar Rapids hosting Syracuse. No score in the first. Also Chicago entertaining Harrisburg. No score in the first. A little bit later, San Diego will be in Sonora to take on, or rather, Sockers are in San Diego to take on Soleil State Sonora in the battle, one of the between the two of the top teams in the Western Conference. Baltimore will get this kick in.
Very important at this stage of the game that the Wave limit the blast restart opportunities and stay out of the penalty box. Thus far tonight, the only penalty of the game called against the Blast in the first half.
That was Pat Healy for tripping, and Baltimore with a big stop. That was in the final 2 minutes of the first half, and they came up with a huge penalty kill there. Again, Milwaukee, the leading power play efficiency team in the league. Peruzzi trying to set it up far side, but eventually Lemos there to scoop it up. Josh has been very impressive tonight. Out for Ruggles, almost mishandled it, but he gets it back for Hans Dennison. Lemos again under pressure, but at least he got it out to midfield. Now Donatelli has some space. He's going to load up, and the shot or pass blocked from behind by Renault. Boy, Robert Renault is everywhere tonight for the Wave. Ruggles trying to go up ahead for him. The pass is too far, but Dennison there to pursue. However, Hans getting a little bit too much.
They called it on Renault actually right before that.
Okay. So Renault picks up the foul. Roberts first of this half. And Mello knocked down off the ball as Andre Hain took a little bump to him. Mello has certainly raised the ire of a few guys here on the Wave side. And I'm sure we might have a couple guys on the Milwaukee side as well that have been a bit distracting to the Blast. But that's what you get. one of the greatest rivalries in the history of North American professional indoor soccer.
Both teams rely on a lot of passing and then movement after they release it, and the Wave doing a good job of putting a body on the blast when they try to make those runs off the ball.
Adriano Dos Santos with a shot just off the mark, and then Lemos, good job to hold the fort as Nelson Santana was in there looking for a follow-up.
And it was Andre Hain, the big target forward for the Wave, who cleared it off the line that time.
Andre certainly could be a big presence defensively when he's back there. Now Dos Santos trying to go one-on-one against Dennison, but has to play it back out. Meanwhile, off the ball, we get a foul called.
And this is going to be a real good restart opportunity for the Blast.
Yeah, apparently, Art, we've had a scoring change now on the goal that made it 3-1. That initially was credited to Robert Renault. Hans Dennison now gets credit for it.
Well, I'd have to
and
see
Sean, I believe that would be or Drew Ruggles with the assist. Drew Ruggles would get the assist on that, if memory serves me right. And again, as years go by, that memory's not as sharp as it used to be, but
what they're saying is that it went off the Blast defender and into the net and not Renault. I'd have to take another look at that.
It was pretty close,
yeah.
But somebody must have studied it and came up with that ruling. So take back those hats, fans. Renault only with 2 goals now instead of 3. Certainly does not negate the brilliance of the play, but technically he's only got 2 goals now. And Hans Dennison will get credit for his 2nd goal of the game, which would give him 4 for the season. Ruggles, again, able to take it away from Roque. And here's Ferdinand. 2 on against the keeper. Coming in. Bennett on the goal.
A defensive attack goal that time by the Wave, as it was Ferdinand who won the 50-50 ball right around midfield, created a 2-on-0, and Ferdinand shows you what a veteran player does. Waits for Vanzela to commit, and then allows Vanzela to have no chance as Bennett at the back post. As there's that IBM line you talked about, Tom. Ian Bennett, Max Ferdinand, and Ferdinand, the former Blast star, with the assist that time to Ian Bennett.
His league-leading 20th helper as Bennett picks up his 33rd goal. You know, I was going to say relative to Ian's goal scoring, he should have been credited for a goal, an own goal in which he was literally sitting on the bench probably for at least 45 seconds last game. I don't think they've ever realigned that statistic. I thought he had an additional goal coming in. Nonetheless, he's got at least 33 this year to go along with 7 assists. So 40 points for Ian Bennett to top the Wave, which is 3rd best in the league against Sonora's Frank Teo, leading the league with 47 points. And how about Max Ferdinand now with a total of 34 points, 14 goals, and a league-leading 20 assists.
A lot of younger players would have tried to score that themselves. They said, hey, I got a breakaway. I'm going to score this myself. Max, the veteran that he is, waited for Vanzela to make his move and then found Bennett wide open for the tap, and that's how you do it.
Very unselfish, textbook way to do it, and a huge goal for the Wave as they now lead it 5-1.
Look at that skill again by Renault.
He has been the man of the moment tonight for Milwaukee, no question about that. Hans Dennison certainly has been another key player, but really are just a tremendous team effort up to this point for the Milwaukee Wave.
Now my office is at the center where the Wave practices, so I get to see these guys train on a daily basis, and just the energy, the level of play and practice has just been outstanding, and it carries over into the games.
Vanzela trying to serve one downfield up in the stand. So once again, we have reached the media timeout in the period. 6:53 to go here in the 3rd, and the Wave leading 5-1. 5 straight goals for Milwaukee, after Baltimore got the initial goal from Elton de Oliveira at 4:15 of the first period. Since that time, a goal or possibly two for Hans Dennison, and then 2 or 3 goals for Renault, and then Ian Bennett with a goal. So either Renault with 3, Dennison with 1, or Renault with 2, Dennison with 2, and apparently the latter is what is officially credited for now. But 5-1, the Wave leads it. Still plenty of time to go. Wave will be in St. Louis tomorrow to take on the Ambush, who will be rested and waiting for them at the Family Arena in St. Charles, 3:05 Central Time kickoff. Wave then returns to take on the Central Division leading Cedar Rapids Rampage here on Sunday, January 29th at 2 p.m. And remember, fans, that is the off week between the Conference Championship and the Super Bowl, so plenty of opportunity to come down and see that. Should be a great game. Again, that's 2 o'clock kickoff, Sunday, January 29th here at the UWMP Arena. Call the Wave ticket office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com.
Well, speaking of resting, Eder Nelson, the Wave player who's suspended for tonight's game, the Wave sent him to St. Louis tonight so he could rest his legs in St. Louis, hoping that he can be a big contributor tomorrow night against the Ambush.
There, some fresh legs tomorrow against the Ambush. Quick turnaround time. Back to the action. Baltimore in red, they go right to left. Turgu trying to work his way in, and as he nudges one into the middle, scooped up by Lemos. Boy, Josh has been on top of the ball just about every time tonight. Up it comes Ferdinand. And eventually takes a left foot shot, but couldn't really get much on it up in the stands.
Good distribution by Lemos that time, and unfortunately for Max Ferdinand, he couldn't get his feet set to strike it out of the air on a volley.
Well, this Wave team has improved light years from the opening weeks of the season. And you look at the way they play tonight, Art, they are certainly very much a playoff contender as anybody else in the league, but it's still going to be tough because only the top 2 teams in the division can make it, and Wave is in the most competitive division in all the MASL. Foul going to be called either on Tosh or Renault. As you see, Jamie Thomas, who got knocked down that time. Mello will play it in for his goalkeeper, Venezuela. Only the 3rd time this year that the Blast has surrendered 5 or more goals. They had only given up 40. They had been plus 27 on the goals coming in, 67 scored, 40 against. Wade, meanwhile, was a plus 8 coming in, 80-72. Shamali clears. Again, Renault, great hustle to win the ball from Pat Healy. Healy, a 10-year veteran, initially had retired after last season, but couldn't resist coming back to play for the Blast. Pat, arguably a legend in Baltimore Blast history.
And just look at the confidence of the Wave right now, knocking the ball around. The Blast trying to pressure the Wave, but 1 and 2 touch passing by the Wave, and really going through a very confident Josh Lemos right there. That man on the ball has just been outstanding in his distribution.
And now Ruggles coming in. Drew tees it up with the right foot. Well struck, but good stop by Venezuela. Grable, nice job to get it back. Now Matos to the near side.
There's that quickness again by Grable.
Ferdinand, little touch, Grable. Stewart turns, wants to go to Ruggles to the corner, but Roque comes up with it for the Blast. Dangerous pass across the middle of his defensive box, but he got it there, and look out now. Here comes a breakaway. De Oliveira not able to do anything as the Wave got back.
Well, there's that team speed again, or that speed. That time it was Max Ferdinand who ran down De Oliveira.
I think it was there might have been Vinny Datas, but it looked a lot more promising when he was taken off. De Oliveira is 26. Data is
Yeah,
28.
It's tough to tell with these.
The blast numbers are not exactly for old eyes to discern.
Well, I was going to say, it's tough to tell with the color of the jerseys and our advancing age, Tom.
Yeah, you got major conflict on both ends there.
If you talk about speed in soccer, Tom, you got pure speed, then you got technical speed. That's how fast the ball's going to move. And then you got a speed of thought. And the Wave, very proficient in all three areas tonight.
Chad Vandergriff with it. Chad, the veteran defender out of St. Louis, Missouri, former star for SMU and the Billikens in his college days. Played the last 3 seasons with the Ambush. Ruggles, what a move there.
Wow.
Shot on a goal!
Wow.
Drew Ruggles! 6-1 Wave.
And the lefty, Drew Ruggles, number 4, going to the right foot that time in a postage stamp into the upper corner that Vanzela didn't even move on. Tremendous piece of individual brilliance that time by Ruggles as he beat the blast forward to his right and then fired a missile into the upper corner. Let's take a look at this again. Right foot from the yellow line. Look at Vanzela just standing there, falls backwards. And that is just a Bombosa postage stamp right there, Tom. That's where you put the stamp.
Absolutely. Drew Ruggles at 11:41 of the third. Wave leads it 6-1. A 6-goal run against the Baltimore Blast. A team that had only been giving up 3.5 goals per game defensively this year. Not even that many, about 3.3. Dos Santos fouled by Dennison.
And Rich Grady, the referee along the near boards that time, put one hand in his pocket, elected to keep the card in. But how many times are you going to see William Vanzela, the all-star goalkeeper for the Baltimore Blast, not even move on a shot from the yellow line?
Shot in, and Lemos is there to make the save on Donatelli. Ricardo couldn't get around the defender. Lemos, another save. Follow up by Thomas. As Wave starts it out. Now Bennett, boy, behind the play.
Look at that
was
speed.
just dumped. Coming in, the shot by Renault just wide. Ricardo gets it back and sends it back. Blast.
Being dominated here tonight by the Milwaukee Wave, who are the quicker, stronger, more technical team, at least tonight.
And Lemos couldn't quite keep that one in the field of play. Josh has not had too many bad distributions tonight. Baltimore to take it. Desperately looking for a goal to turn the momentum here.
And I like what Giuliano Oliviero is doing with the Wave. He's not taking his foot off the gas pedal. You see the Wave continuing to pressure the Baltimore goalkeeper Vanzela at every opportunity.
Tenzin Rampa with a hard tackle there. Tenzin, of course, brass tacks and nails kind of guy. He's not afraid to go into any challenge. Now Bennett, nice touch there to get away from Mello. As the Wave tried to push upfield, good defensive stand by the Blast. It looked like Milwaukee might have a 3-on-1 there.
Yeah, Dos Santos, number 12, with those big, long strides that time. A goal-saving tackle with his left foot. Number 12, Dos Santos for the Blast.
If somehow Baltimore gets back in the game, that could turn out to be a noteworthy play, because had the Wave gotten through, very good chance they would have scored again to make it 7-1.
Yeah, I just don't see it here tonight, Tom, for Baltimore.
Well, one thing for sure, they have a little bit more fatigue than the Wave after having played last night. Not only played last night in Cedar Rapids, but coming across from Cedar Rapids. And as anybody who's been to Cedar Rapids knows, that's not the easiest place to get to if you're coming from Milwaukee. Not a bad drive, but not it's not on the mainstream. You certainly can't make a direct flight there.
Well, if you're a member of the Baltimore Blast, you come home from this weekend and you get ready to put your thinking cap on with Coach Danny Kelly. Because I guarantee you, he's going to have a lot of coaching to do this coming week.
Ferdinand will get charged for the foul there as he ran over his former teammate and buddy, Pat Kelly. Well, I don't know, maybe they weren't buddies too much, but they were certainly teammates for several years. part of it, I'm sure, frustration on the part of the Blast, and of course, you know, some of the emotions that Max had from playing with the Blast for several years.
Well, as a player, what you learn is that the situation always dictates. The situation dictates, and right now, the Wave with a 6-1 lead, that dictates that you don't get involved in anything. You saw the foul that time by Ferdinand from behind, and what you do, you walk away, you're up 6-1, don't do anything that's going to wake a sleeping dog right now.
37.4 to go, third period.
Now, if you're down 6-1 and you want to stir it up, you want to mix it up a little bit, that's the time. I'm going to hear a hockey fan, Tom, right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, team's down by a few goals. What do? Let's start a fight, right? Let's get things going a little bit, stir it up. And once again, the situation for the Wave right now calls for calmness.
Hoxie trying to get through on the ball off the inboard, but Chamali with a good job to hold him off. Shot in by Mello is wide. Follow-up coming through. Healy trying to pass to his right, and we get a foul called against the Blast. We get a look at Pat Healy.
You know, I've been impressed with the defensive effort of a lot of the Wave players, but look at Daniel Matos right here, slide tackle with the left foot. Both he and Andre Hain have been outstanding defensively.
I was going to say, Andre, very, very unsung defensively tonight. Wave still with 5 seconds. Ruggles coming in, shot just wide. Oh, Drew just missing with the left foot blast. And Renault's follow is high, but it would have been just after the buzzer. Another great period for the Wave. Milwaukee will go to the fourth period on a 6-goal run. It's the Wave 6, the Baltimore Blast 1, and the crowd enjoying it all here at Panther Arena. We'll come back with more. This is Wave Soccer.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
What others see is not a reflection of who I really am.
Pain from everyday wear and tear? That's not gonna stop me.
That younger me, she's still in there.
With uncompromising orthopedic expertise, we make sure the state of your body matches your state of mind.
We We come to the fourth quarter from the UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena. It's the Milwaukee Wave 6, the Baltimore Blast 1. Wave trying to win its fourth in a row to go to 8-5 and 5-1 here on the home turf, the only black turf in North American professional soccer. Meanwhile, the Blast trying to avoid losing their second straight, and they would have the same record if the Wave wins at 8-5. Baltimore would drop to 500 on the road. They're currently 4-3 coming in. All time, interesting enough, Art Kramer, the Wave with a 50-35 lead in the series, including a 31-10 mark here in Milwaukee during the regular season. So, as we know over the years, the Wave has had some great moments against Baltimore in Milwaukee. This would be another good one if they can close it out. Wave going left to right in the black uniforms. The Blast take it away. And whatever Baltimore's got left for 15 minutes, I'm sure we're going to see it.
And the recipe for the Wave, Tom, has got to be when you win possession of the ball, keep it for long stretches of time. Make the Blast chase.
Baltimore used up a lot of energy in that third period chasing the ball, playing their second game in 2 nights after last night's 5-3 loss in Cedar Rapids. The Wave, of course, off last night, but got to go to St. Louis for a 3 o'clock game tomorrow. Nice move by Donatelli, his shot, and a big block that time. Tenzin, Rampa, Blast reloads. Baltimore could certainly switch the momentum if they get a quick goal here to start the fourth. And once again, Josh Lemos there to scoop it up. Josh has just had a tremendous game here tonight, emerging as one of the league's top goalkeepers. Just his rookie year, but he is learning the indoor game quickly. Be interesting to see, Art, who Coach Oliviero decides to play tomorrow, whether he try to come back with Lemos or go with Rafael Diaz.
I'm sure he'll talk to Lemos after this game, see how he's doing. But I tell you what, Diaz has, when he's gotten some action here lately, has looked sharp himself.
He has come on. He had an excellent effort against St. Louis in the Waves 5-3 win over the Ambush here a couple of weeks ago. So he may be rounding into form as well.
And that point right there might dictate what Oliviero does. Since he played Diaz against St. Louis the last time, he may come back and go with him against St. Louis as well. Got it.
Ferdinand sweeps that one away. Now, Shamali Tosh had a bad touch there, but Sean able to get it back. Play it wide to Ferdinand. Boy, that could have been disastrous for the Wave. Although, again, 5-goal lead, so it certainly would have been as disastrous if the game was closer.
Well, you don't want to give Baltimore any momentum. And as you said, a turnover that time by Toch, but a good recovery, used his quickness to win it back.
Nelson Santana, 3rd team in 3 years. I believe this is his 5th team in his professional career. Feisty defensive midfielder forward. I guess Nelson can kind of play anywhere out on that field. See Vanzela, the goalkeeper now, has come forward out to his offensive half. Over to Hoxie, his shot blocked out. Wave has done a nice job to contain Hoxie, Donatelli, and Vinny Dantas, the big guys up front for Baltimore.
You said how the Wave has come light years since the beginning of the season, and you look at a guy like Chad Vandergriff. Remember early in the season, Tom, we were talking about, man, when Vandergriff starts to feel a little bit more comfortable, and Chad Vandergriff is one of the premier defenders in the MASL right now.
And Chad has definitely come on as the season has progressed here. Again, first year with Milwaukee after 3 with the ambush. I'm sure he'll be looking forward to tomorrow's game, his first game back at Family Arena in St. Charles.
The Wave claiming that ball hit the top of the board before it went over, but Baltimore going to get a top of the arc restart.
Pretty close as Baltimore coach Danny Kelly looks on. Healy to distribute. Donatelli down low, and the redirection by Dos Santos is knocked away. Shot by Donatelli, knocked down. I think it might have been Matos took one right in the chops, but he sacrificed himself for the team, as all these guys have been doing tonight.
And that blast restart, a little uncharacteristic for what they normally do. That time, no threat of a shot by Healy.
Dos Santos bangs one in off the end board. Will come near side, Robert Renault. Renault, who's got a great chance to be our PCI hardest working player of the game. And again, that would only be representative of the effort put in by the rest of the guys.
But getting back to that blast restart, Tom, when you don't threaten to shoot, it allows the defensive team to jump out quicker to block the shot to the player you're passing to.
Renault trying to cut through a couple of defenders. Robert still retaining possession. Boy, well done there.
You think about the blast restarts over the years, Tom, there's always a lot of movement, a player coming looping around like he's going to shoot, 3 and 4 options. That time, it was just a simple Healy pass, and the Wave was all over it.
Bennett holding off the defender, lays it back for Ferdinand. Max out high, he will work it over to Stuart Grable. 9.5 to go, a little less. And the Wave trying to put the finishing touches on what would be a huge victory. Ferdinand with a bike, just a bit wide. Good effort there by Max.
I'm not sure that was an all-out bike.
Kind of a
more like
a semi-bike.
Like a tricycle,
I would,
Tom. In his younger days, Max could have biked, but he's getting down to the tricycle.
Well, as far as this season, it's going to be hard-pressed to equal the double bike attempted by the Mustangs on New Year's Eve day. That's still in my book, Art, goes down as
the bicycle built for two.
Bicycle built for two. In the annals of the history of indoor soccer, that tape is going to be amazing, as Matos trying to see if he could just chip one up over the goalkeeper. Good attempt there by Daniel.
Well, great look that time by Ruggles with a first-time penetrating pass to find Matos.
Vanzela again brings it up for the blast. Sofiane Turgu, one of the new players for Baltimore this year. Dos Santos. Shot blocked, and now he's going to get called for a foul.
Blocked that time by Chad Vandergriff, number 3.
Chad's had several blocks tonight. He's the Wave's leading shot blocker coming in. Lemos trying to serve it long and just a bit. Oh, great look by Josh. Just a little long, one stride for Ian Bennett on the fly pattern. And now the blast comes back to restart. Almost made the connection there.
Looking down at the blast bench, Danny Kelly.
That was Rogers to Devontae Adams, just one step too far. You know, this guy, Turgu, physically, Art, his profile reminds me of Bobby Joe Esposito. Remember him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Former member of the Atlanta and Kansas City Attack.
Played for years for Coach Keith Tozer.
Yeah, didn't quite have the hair like Turgu's got there. But as far as his profile from behind, very similar. Ricardo, nice job to play it ahead. Here's Bennett in the foot race. Ian's going to get there first, and he comes! Shot a goal!
Ian Bennett that time using his speed to beat the blast defender down the field. And we got a little action behind the play here, Tom.
What a finish by Ian with Donatelli chasing number 2 on the night for Ian. Officially his 34th of the year.
And you see Van Zela doing what a goalkeeper doesn't want to have to do, and that's be backing up as a player's coming forward to take a shot. Ideally, a goalkeeper would like to be stepping to the ball to close that angle, and Van Zela was having to chase back. He was caught forward, and the Wave countered and caught him.
Not too many times in the career of William Van Zela has he surrendered 7 goals in a season. You're talking about, Art, a guy in his career. We'll quickly look it up here. Rarely has had a goals against above 4. His first year with Baltimore was in 12-13. He was 4.14 for the goals against average. Since then, 1.11, 2.22, 6.5, and this year 3.06.
Well, Tom, you know that I, over the years, I've been on Facebook a little bit during the MASL fan page, right? The forum, the big soccer forum. And I know Blast fans, and Blast fans are not going to be happy with this weekend, right? But here's a little message to the Blast fans. Let Danny Kelly do his work. Let Danny Kelly and David Bascombe work, because they've earned the right over the years. They are 2 of the top coaches in indoor soccer. And if you want anybody to figure out what's going on with the Baltimore Blast, it's Danny Kelly and David Bascombe, along with Kevin Healy, right? I think they've earned the opportunity to try to turn this around. And they're 8-5, right? They're 8-5. So.
Oh, yeah. That's the, Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy of the MASL.
Well, and I love Blast fans, but they are passionate and they are opinionated. They're East Coast people. They're tough people. And they're not going to be happy. There's going to be rumbling, but the Baltimore Blast will be fine. Danny Kelly will do his work as he always does and get this team competing.
Okay.
A little bit more effectively than they have this weekend.
Well,
He's got a lot of new players. Got a young team, a lot of new players.
And it takes a while. But I'm sure they'll get back on track the way they're accustomed to. And by the time the playoffs start, the defending champs will be more than ready to defend their crown. Sean Tosh trying to work his way out to the near side. Double team, but comes away with it. And now taken down by Jonatas Mello. Boy, Sean, kind of an unsung game tonight, Art. He's, again, been big on both ends of the field.
I've said the word probably 5 or 6 times tonight, Tom. The confidence the Wave players are playing with has been impressive.
Here comes De Oliveira out of the back, trying to create something. He's got to lay it back out, less than 7 minutes to go. So the Wave in St. Louis for the 3 o'clock game tomorrow, right back here to face division-leading Cedar Rapids on Sunday, January 29th, at our next home game. That's at 2:05 p.m. Central Time start. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE, as Dantas drives one across just wide.
And you see Vinny Dantas showing his skill right there with a nice little move along the near boards.
Vinny is a big guy with a lot of skill. It looks like he's got a little bit of speed to go with it as well. But Wave has been able to do a good job to nullify him tonight, as they have really the other big guns for Baltimore, namely Donatelli and Andrew Hoxie. By the way, Andrew Wiedebach, number 25, on the field for the first time tonight. Andrew, as I said, the native out of Mequon, Wisconsin. There you go. Played his high school ball at Homestead High for the Highlanders, and then moved on to play for the Panthers at UWM, which of course is the same place where Tenzin Rampa played his college ball.
So, say Wiedebach getting his first shift for the Wave, and another guy who's come on here for the Blast is Gaetan Caltabiano. Reminds me a little bit of Robbie Aristodemo.
Now
Gaetan does.
Speaking of Aristodemo, has shot save made by Lemos.
Robbie Aristodemo, the former standout midfielder for the Baltimore Blast.
Now with the Florida Tropics coming back after, I believe, Art, a 4-year, 5-year retirement. I mean, first of all, he must have stayed in some kind of shape to be able to do that. But
Smart guy. If you're going to come back, you might as well come back with Florida.
So Aristodemo contributing to the surprising Tropics, Art, who are still hanging in there. They were in a second-place tie with Harrisburg coming into tonight's action. So they are still very much alive for the playoffs. 5 minutes to go as Milwaukee tries to keep the momentum. Now Bennett on the pass from Andre Hain. Nice job by Ian. Turn, plays it back. Hain coming up. Ricardo, there's probably the biggest guy to the smallest guy on the team.
There's a whack that time by Santana.
He'll get called for the foul. And
yeah, he should be in the penalty box for that blow. He had no intent on going for the ball that time.
Nelson, a hard physical player. Vandegraff off the frame. Now Bennett with a shot above the crossbar.
And I like it. Hain took the opportunity to take a run right back at Dos Santos that time. If you're going to dish it out, it's going to come right back at you. You're going to put a man that big down.
Ian Bennett again tracking back defensively to help out, to take it away from Thomas. Roque looking for a shot, couldn't get it online. Santana keeps it alive. Again, they work it to Roque. His shot, save, Lemos. Follow, and Donatelli scores. So the Blast finally ends the goal-scoring run for the Wave as Donatelli bangs one in at 10:55. It's now 7-2 Milwaukee.
And similar to the first goal the Blast scored, where it was Lemos who made a left-handed save, and then the Blast come in and score on the rebound. But as you said, almost a full 3 quarters, over 3 quarters, that the Wave held the Blast off the board, because that first goal was, what, 2 or 3 minutes into the first quarter. This comes with just 4:05 left in the game.
Donatelli with his 16th of the year, also had an assist earlier tonight. And I believe that was Roque who took the shot that Lemos made a great save on. But
Donatelli with a nice little check run to lose the Wave defender in the center of the box.
Lucas Roque, who has only played in 6 games this year, gets his 4th assist. Lemos drifting back, and he's able to punch that out. And even though his feet were past the goal line, he kept the ball from going across. So well done by Josh. Tosh heads it down at midfield, but Hoxie takes it away. Now, shot in is off the mark. Hoxie has it deflected away by Ruggles. They will reload. Vanzela again coming out to the midfield stripe. So utilizing him as a pseudo 6th attacker right now.
Danny Kelly has spent a lot of this game with his hands in his sport coat. But I'm sure the mind is working feverishly down there.
Sean Tosh going to take the foul there. Well, the Blast gave up 7 to Harrisburg in a 7-4 loss back on December 30th. They also gave up 6 to Harrisburg in an 11-6 win over the Heat in their season opener. Other than that, not many goals to go around for Blast opponents.
And Tom, and I learned a long time ago, that's the big difference between playing and coaching is the players after a game like this, they're going to get their rest, and the work for the coaches begins right when this game ends. You know, if they're going to get on the plane or they're going to get on the bus, whatever it is, Danny Kelly and David Bascome will be talking about this, getting their notes together, planning for the week ahead. Players work 5 or 6 hours a day, and coaches work about 12 to 15.
Well, they say, Art, as a player, you only worry about yourself. As a coach, you got to worry about everybody. Hence the affiliated time that goes with that.
And I can't emphasize it enough. Danny Kelly is such a detail-oriented coach, and he will be sweating the details of this weekend.
By the way, updated score, Cedar Rapids, which was down 5-2 at one point, has now rallied back for a 6-5 lead at halftime against Syracuse. Remember, Syracuse frittered away a 5-2 lead in the fourth quarter at Kansas City last night, losing 6-5. Also, halftime, the Heats from Harrisburg leading the Chicago Mustangs at Sears Center 2-1. And then San Diego and Sonora getting ready to kick it off in another hour and a half.
Interesting, the Wave taking a timeout that time to get, I believe, it's Ian Bennett in the penalty box there.
By the way, the Blast will get back in action a week from tomorrow when they host St. Louis. That's also Sunday, January 29th, for a 4 o'clock Eastern time game at Royal Farms Arena. And stick around for our post-game show. We will have an interview down on the field. Dan McNeil talking to our PCI hardest working player of the game. I got a feeling, Art, Robert Renault is going to be wearing the helmet tonight.
Well, he certainly deserves it. But, you know, getting back to this timeout, Tom, it's a lot of fans that say, well, it's 7-2. What are you taking a timeout for with 1:09 left? But I tell you what, the Baltimore Blast are as professional as they come. You're not going to see any Blast players getting upset because the Wave took a timeout with a minute to go in the game. And once again, that stems from the leadership of a guy like Danny Kelly. You know, coaches have their reasons for doing anything. It's not to disrespect anyone. And the Baltimore Blast, they win with class and they lose with class as well. Just a tremendous organization. So glad to see these guys again, Tom. It's just a treat every time the Wave and Blast play.
Well, as you said, Art, it's really ridiculous to think that these two teams were in the same league but did not play each other last year. So I agree with you. One of the greatest rivalries in the history of North American indoor soccer.
You ask Wave fans and say, hey, you coming to the game this weekend? Well, who are they playing? People hear the Baltimore Blast. Oh, to play in the Blast? I'm definitely going to go to that one.
No question. Great crowd tonight, and they have seen a great game, save for the probably a couple of diehard Blast fans who are here there. But it has been an excellent night for the Milwaukee Wave. Wave getting ready to win its 4th in a row. They'll go to 8-5 overall, 5-1 at home. The Blast will lose their 2nd straight as they drop to 8-5 and 4-4 on the road. Final 10 seconds of action. Bennett chipping toward the empty net. Healy will track it down as it was going wide, and that's going to do it. What a game tonight for the Milwaukee Wave as they defeat the Baltimore Blast by the final score of 7-2. And Art, really, that's probably the best overall team effort we've seen in the game here this year. One of the best in recent years.
It absolutely was.
So
it's been Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand game after game, but tonight it was just a team effort all the way around.
Wave very impressive on both ends of the field. And all 4 phases, if you will, 3 phases, goaltending, defense, offense, and special teams really didn't have to do much. There was only 1 penalty of the game against Baltimore. The Wave had the power play, and one of the few times the Wave didn't convert on the power play this year. But other than that, just excellent net. The man they were just showing there, Coach Oliviero, and his staff of Marcello Fontana and Nick Borberg did a great job getting the boys ready for this one
The
tonight.
preparation's been outstanding the last month to 2 months. That man right there, Giuliano Oliviero.
Now, tough turnaround coming up. They will regroup for a couple hours and then head down to St. Louis. And as we talked about, even though the Ambush is not having a good season, they would love nothing more than to beat the Wave tomorrow at the Family Arena in St. Charles. So,
well, that's the challenge for that man right there, Giuliano Oliviero, is to get a team who's going to be very happy beating the defending champs and then getting them mentally prepared to play against the St. Louis Ambush.
Take a look at the scoring highlights once again. Opening goal for the Wave to tie it at 1 as Hans Dennison scores off the nice pass from Robert Renault. That would be the harbinger for Renault of what was in store for him. Beautiful individual move there. He got his first of the night, make it 2-1. There's the one that he initially got credited for the goal, but then they changed it to Dennison, and then Renault again off the beautiful pass from Sean Tosh. And there's the finish by Drew Ruggles with a nice bomb there. Let's send it down to
Here with our Professional Construction Incorporated hardest working player of the game, one of our new guys. 2 goals and assists tonight for Robert Renault. How's it feel?
It's amazing, man. Great team effort. It was probably one of our best games of the season, so I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and these guys gave me the ball, and I did what I do.
You realize how big of a win this is to take out the defending champs one more time.
Hey, man, everyone here was talking to me how much of a rivalry Baltimore and Milwaukee was, and, there's nothing more than making a difference in a game like this, Good, man.
How are you making that transition from futsal into indoor? You're doing pretty good. How's it feel?
I mean, there's a couple of guys on my team that helped me out a lot. They've been playing in this league for like 8, 9, 10 years, and we talk off the field, we watch game tape, and these guys helped me out, man.
Give it up for our PCI, hardest working player of the game. He gets the ice bat tonight. Give it up for Robert Renault, Wave fans. You can find out more about today's game at MilwaukeeWave.com. Thank you, Robert. Great game. MilwaukeeWave.com has even more. Back up to you guys.
And so that will do it here tonight from the arena. Wave defeats the Blast 7-2. And for my colleague, Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer, Tom Wynn, wishing you a good one. We will see you next time here on Wave Soccer.